Well, hey, welcome, welcome. It's Monday, and you know what time it is. It's 5:15, 2023. It's Monday. You're now into the Bips Blips. You're on the Mic'd Up app, the only platform where you can interact with your favorite athlete. So all you gotta do is download this. But we just want to say thank you for coming in. Welcome, welcome everybody. We're gonna have a nice little show going on again today, talking about some sports, talking about baseball, a little basketball, you know, all the type of things that are going on 24 hours these days. It seems like sports is 24 hours because as soon as you close your eyes after one game, you wake up, there's another game. I happen to be up here in the Bay Area, and right now, there's a little mourning going on. I just want to first pay my condolences to all the Warrior fans out there who are, going through it right now because I know you thought they were going to beat the Lakers. I know you thought they were going to beat the Lakers. See, a lot of people don't know this. My mother was a Laker fan. She just loved Magic Johnson. And so, what do you think was on in my house? The Lakers. And then when I went to San Diego, only the Lakers were on TV. So I was down there 20 years. I got to watch Magic and I got to watch Kobe, got to watch some down years. And then all of a sudden they came back again. You know how many championships the Lakers got? It's hard not to like the Lakers, right? Well, I know some of you out there right now saying, yeah, right, B. But man, I stayed quiet through that whole thing. My daughter she was out with her friend and they were at this little spot watching the game and she just knew not to speak on what was going on. She stayed quiet while the words were getting blasted. Because she knew. And then she called me afterwards. She said, Daddy, I didn't want to say anything because I didn't want to get myself in trouble here with all the Warrior fans. So she just stayed quiet. And my pastor at my church, he came to church. He had on some white shoes. They had purple and gold on them. And he showed them to everybody in the congregation. He lifted up his pants leg and said, Hey, can y'all see these? See the colors? And then he prayed and mourned with all the Warrior fans. So, not that I don't like the Warriors, because I'm an Oakland boy. I grew up watching the Warriors. But at that time, it's kind of like how the Raiders and the 49ers were. The Raiders and 49ers, the Raiders left, and it was only the 49ers here. And the 49ers won championships. So all the kids became 49er fans. So at this particular time, I was in San Diego. When I came back, they weren't Raider fans. My son, they were all 49er fans. And it's kind of how I was when I went down to San Diego and started watching the Lakers. So I just wanted to start with that. We'll be right back here on Bips Blips. Hang in there with us, y'all. All right, all right. I always like that intro. I sometimes want to play it extra long because I start getting into that beat. But you are listening to Bips Blips on the Mic'd Up app, the only platform where you can interact with your favorite athletes. And all you have to do is download it. Download it in the Apple Store, the Android Store, wherever you have a Play Store. Go ahead and download that. And then tell your friends. All right. What was that old saying? Tell a friend. I forgot the commercial, but it was tell a friend and tell a friend and he tell a friend and she tell a friend. And pretty soon we got a big party going on. So that's all good. Guys, let's see what's going on here. We got a big slate of baseball today, and the Mets have already got beaten again. Think about this: the Mets and their payroll is almost $1 billion, and they're only 20-22 in New York. They're not playing very good. And they got blasted by the Nationals 10-3 today. And right now, you see the Angels and the Orioles in the bottom of the second. Angels up 1-0. They got a big payroll too. Yankees and Blue Jays later, Mariners and Red Sox later, Brewers and Cardinals later, Braves and Rangers. That's gonna be a good game. If you really like baseball, turn that Braves and Rangers game on. You got Morton versus Bradford, and those guys are pitching well right now. Um, Cubs and Astros later, Reds and Rockies. The Cincinnati Red guy. Yeah, Padre guy. Diamondbacks and Athletics. And then you got the Royals and the Padres, Phillies and the Giants. And it's rounded out by the Twins and the Dodgers. So um, hold on 1 second for me, please. That was just, I had to mute that because I had to let him know something real quick. See, 8 year olds, you got to keep your eye on them because you never know. You might be hanging off a chandelier somewhere. But, oh boy. Okay, we're going to get through this. All right, you guys pray with me that I get through this, that he makes it through this. Okay, how about that? Now, there was some disturbing news that happened, and it's not the first time that it's happened. And it happens to deal with this kid, Ja Morant. You guys have probably heard the story. He's had several incidents right now off the basketball court. And first, we're talking about a very talented young kid too. A lot of times with young kids, just like what's going on over here that you can't see, it takes a while for them to get it, right? Even when they're 8, and John Morant is 25, it's still taking him a long time to get it. But you don't want him to get it when he's sitting behind bars in an orange jumpsuit. So see, I give him the benefit of the doubt because I grew up with a lot of guys in Oakland, and they didn't get it until it was too late, or they were sitting in that cell with that orange jumpsuit on. Then they got it. Oh, it was like they were the kid in the back row, and then all of a sudden the light just went off. Bing! Oh, I shouldn't have done that. Too late then. This kid right now, if I could get him in a room with anybody right now, I would get him in the room with Andre Ward. Not so Andre could put hands on him, but so Andre could talk to him and let him know, hey man, listen, we've all been in your situation at a certain age, but Andre is one who had a bunch of talent, potential, was on the right track. Sometimes people get a little sidetracked, but they bounce back because they have a foundation, the right foundation. You guys, if you know me, you know what that foundation is. It's the Savior. Got to have that foundation, or else you're somewhere else toiling in the dirt. And I think if he got in a room with Andre, Andre could really talk to him. There's not nothing crazy he could say to Andre because again, Andre was a world champion boxer. You gonna talk crazy to a boxer who used to use them hands to make a living? Probably not. But I think that the experience and how spiritual Andre is, he could help walk that kid down the right path. So I think he needs that. Because when this last video, and let me just go back to what was happening before. He's had confrontations with high school kids. He's had a confrontation with a kid who was helping his mom in like a foot locker or something, and she didn't like the service, so she called him, come down here. And he came down there with 8 of his guys. Sister was playing volleyball, and somebody called her the B word. She called Ja. The mother again called Ja, come down here. And here he comes again. And then he was, after a game against Indiana, some kind of way his buddy got kicked out the game, and they're out there where the loading dock for the visiting team is to get on the bus, and a car drives by, and all of a sudden their laser beams, these red laser beams are on these guys, but the car drives on. He was in the car. Then he's at a nightclub and he's drunk, and then he holds up his pistol. And then the other day, no, let me go back. Let me before I even go there. He holds up his pistol in the club while he's drunk. So they suspend him. He supposedly, I'm sorry, I won't do it again. I'll make better decisions. And he supposedly went to treatment. Now, he only went to treatment for 8 days. Most of the people I know that grew up and had addictions had to be in the treatment at least 42 days. 8 days is like going through a drive through a Starbucks. I'm going to go through, get me some coffee and some treatment. That's not enough time. So he comes out of that and he's contrite and he's telling everybody in the world and through this interview and all of this that, hey, I'm going to do better and I need to make better choices. So now his buddy's in the car 2 days ago, and his buddy's on IG Live. He's having fun, and he turns it to Ja, who's driving, and Ja pulls up a gun, and the buddy snatches it back like, oh my goodness. It was already on IG Live, and now it's out again. Here's a guy that may lose $500 million because of some stupidity. Again, I'll say it's youthfulness. Okay, I'll get he's young. At 25, can you all think about what you were doing at 25? Because I know what I was doing at 25. And I'm lucky to be here. I'm lucky to have the grade right here. I survived it. I survived it. And I'm proud of that. But at 25, I know I was way over the edge. And he's way over the edge. But see, these guys these days, I want to listen to experienced guys who've been there, done that, conquered it, and moved forward. So I see I got a little connection, but hopefully that's still cool. Usually it's a green light up there. There's a connection is back. Okay, good, 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 good. Hopefully, guys, you didn't miss what I was saying about Ja Morant. But I'm just bringing that up because, again, I'm always one of those guys who, when young men, young women have talent, I want to see them perform on the field. I think that's very exciting to see an athlete performing at their best on a stage that they were blessed to play on and doing the things that no others can do. And I like to see them and they're doing it well. I just don't like to see something take them off the field, be it injury or something as stupid as this. And it's just stupid. That's about as firm of a word as I use these days. Where back when I was 25, I was using other crazier words. But now we're a little older, a little wiser. We've gotten ourselves back on track. So because I know that stupid is in the Bible, I can use that word. See, I can use that word, right? The idiot is in the word, is in there, and stupid. So I can use those words, but I don't use those other words anymore, right? And that takes me to something that's happened while on my watch, and I would say I wasn't on schedule with the Oakland A's. See, we're talking about young dummies, and sometimes we can get to some old guys who sometimes slip up and crash the plane. That's one thing my pastor talks about. He says you take off and now you're flying your plane and the plane is equivalent to what life is and everything is going well. And then some people, when they get towards the end, they forget about the foundation and they crash the plane. I'm not trying to crash my plane. You know, and I'm only gonna touch this because when I was talking to the guys last week, I said, hey, had I been on last week, I would have been discussing it in detail. But it's been a week, almost two now, so I'm just gonna barely touch it and move on. And I would say it like this: be careful of what you say about others who live in this world with you, because your mouth these days can get you canceled, fired, or pushed to the side, even after you've done all the good work. Hear what I'm saying? So watch what you say about others. And if you think you're going to say something that could be derogatory or something that's going to hurt someone, you need to stop and think before you say it. And I know sometimes when people get excited, words slip out of their mouth. But if you don't have those words in your subconscious, these words will never come out. My 8-year old, he'll never understand, never hear these words come out of my mouth, so they'll never be in his conscious or subconscious to where he can say that at some point in time in his life. Just won't happen. So be careful about what you say around others. Be careful about understanding how young people listen to every word you say. It's like he's on the back of the couch right now looking at me, wondering who am I really talking to? Probably think I'm crazy right now. But I think he saw the picture. He saw the faces. He saw whatever, whatever, whatever. So, but understand what I'm saying here. Understand what I'm saying. So, all right. Hey, when we come back, we're going to talk about the A's and their plans to go to Vegas. You're on Bips Blips, the only platform where you could interact with your favorite athletes. Download it now. We'll see you in a minute. Hey, mic'd up. Mic'd up, man. This is a serious platform, man. You don't realize it. The guys behind us, they're geniuses, man. Because I don't know a lot of people who could put something like this together. So, I just want to give my boys a shout out there saying, hey, this is good stuff here. Real good stuff. Okay. So, you know what we're going to do? We're going to take some live feeds from some guys out there because sometimes I like to change it up a little bit, see what folks are talking about before I answer the questions that they ask me later, and then I got to answer them again. So let's see what's going on right now. Jim, what's up? You got me, Jim? All right.
Hello, Bip. Jim here. thanks for your update on thinking on rules changes last time, and love the show from my source on how it's going with these huge changes. So anything you'd like to comment further there would be great. The game times themselves, as you offered up, do have a big impact on the broadcasters. I hadn't really been thinking about that. Thanks.
Well, appreciate that, Jim. The thing about it is being an analyst on TV, we have to notice the little nuances of the game and how they affect the game, how they affect the customer, how they affect the player. And there's just always times where I'm watching games right now and I see things that happen with the pitch timer. More than anything, it's the pitch timer. That still has some little fine tuning to be done. I saw once the other day, I think hitters in the box, pitchers on the mound, and something is happening with like 4 seconds to go, and the pitcher doesn't get the pitch off because his windup is too slow, and he gets a violation. It was the weirdest thing that I've seen yet, and we're all wondering what just happened until we saw ball. It was 1-1, 1-0, and then it was 2-0. And that's when I realized that it was a pitcher's violation. It wasn't a hitter's violation. So I think that pitch timer thing still has to be worked out. Because my thing is, if I'm in the box and I get in there with 8 seconds and I'm ready with 8 seconds, I really don't want him to freeze me. Because if I'm standing for 8 seconds and I'm just looking out there at him, now I'm starting to get little, I'm not as in my rhythm as I was. He's taking me out of my rhythm, and he knows that. That's why he's going to hold it to 2-1. Then he's going to come to the plate. And so I think you should be able to at least look down and look back up to get your vision, because we're taught when the pitcher comes set, we're to look not directly at him, but off to the side, and then we focus, or either sometimes we look right at the emblem on their hat, and then when he comes set, we take our eyes over to where he's going to deliver the ball so that we can focus. But if I'm just staring at him 8 seconds, and then now I have to come over this way, it throws me off. It may throw my focus off. It may throw my timing off. It may even have me to start to think while I'm looking at this emblem here. So I think you should be able to look down and then look back up. I saw Tony Kim do that, and they called a violation on him. So that's something. A lot of discussion has to be done behind that, and I'm starting to see guys really start to manipulate that in their favor. You should not be able to manipulate the game, not at all. That game should not be manipulated. It's played on an even playing field, pitcher versus hitter. It's tough enough to get hits in this league, but then to have the pitcher manipulate the timing and the things, the little nuances that hitters do. I'm starting to notice how hitters are starting to call timeout more now. They're starting to figure out when they need to call that timeout to slow the game back down, to get themselves back into the rhythm that they feel they need at the plate. That's very important as a hitter. You have to have your rhythm. Without a rhythm, a lot of guys have been struggling. I think they're still trying to find their rhythms. But some other guys are just raking and just flat out hit. They don't care. I like how Marcus Simeon does it. He doesn't even come out the box. He takes his swing. He might step back for a second. He gets right back in the box. He's ready to go. Matt Chapman the same way. He don't have time to worry about anything else other than see the ball and then let me get off a good swing. I just love guys like that. They don't care about no pitch timer. They don't need a pitch timer. This is their rhythm. And I think more hitters need to follow that lead. You don't need that pitch timer. Get a rhythm, stay with that rhythm, and go through your motions. Go through whatever the routine you have, but go through it with a quicker pace when it comes to what you're trying to do at the plate. So I think that's very important. Reed, Mr. Swanson, how you doing?
Hey, Bip. Reid Swanson here. Got a question. What do you think about the way that data and analytics have really changed the way GMs put together a team? I think to an extent, it's even changed the way I, as a fan, might watch it, or I might even bet. I'm not sure that I like it, but I think it's here. I guess my question is there a way that we get more raw, kind of back to love of the game, or a little less driven?
Well, that's a good question as well as a good statement. Get back to the love. But I would say get back to what I see. A lot of scouts are coming out to watch these young players, these high schoolers, these colleges. They're not coming out to video it. They don't. They're not even coming with a pencil and a pad. They're coming with these. Oh, I see him. I don't need to have anyone tell me, write down some analytics, some data, this. No, I can come see him. And with my own eyes, I know what a player looks like. That's the old school way. So you're definitely right. That's the old school way. I can come to a game, I can see a talent and go, man, that kid can play. I don't have to look at a piece of paper. The kid's running a 7-2 down the first. He's got a bub arm. He can hit a fastball. Uh, now I want to see him run the first. I know how fast he's running. I want to see him throw. I know what type of arm he has. I want to see him not only can he hit a fastball, but can he hit a breaking ball? What kind of talent does he really have? And the only way to know that is to see it. I think a lot of these analytic data stats are to make players look good during a time when everyone was struggling with the shift and the guys now the miles per hour going up and now you're facing guys from the bullpen who only throw 95 to 100. They wanted to find a way to because the averages of baseball was so down. It was at like 231 when last year at April, the lowest it had ever been in Major League history. Just guys just were not hitting. And so I think sometimes you could be so smart, and then you added all the guys who were probably brainiacs in college to the game. The guys who used to play the game have a hard time getting a job in the game. They just seem like they don't want you around. It's like your experience hurts you. Being a player, like, hey man, this guy played 15 years in the big leagues. Oh no, we don't want him around because he knows too much. See, so when you talk about old school way was to have the old school guys come back and teach us. The Maury Wells would come back. The Davy Lopes would come back and teach us base running, professional base running. Now I watch base running, I go, ooh, they could use some help. Base running is key. That's the little thing in the game that helps you win or lose. Can you go first or third? Can you tag up from second? Do you have the instincts to go first or third? Whatever it may be. Little things come up in the game where you have to have those instincts on the bases. Davy Lopes used to teach us that. Maury Wills would come show us how to bunt. Guys with speed. And this is how you get the bunt down. There's always guys like that coming back. The Giants always had the Mazes, the McCoveys, the Bonds. They had everybody coming back. The A's have Dave Stewart come back, Ricky Anderson. They still come back. But the thing is, analytics overrides their word. What a shame. Guys with all that experience, talent, success, analytics override their word. It's crazy to me. It's probably why I'm not in the game because I don't know. I remember this quick story. Ricky was down in A ball somewhere in the minor leagues, and he goes to different teams at different times of the year. And so he was down there and he was talking to the kids about certain things happening in the game, but they were only thinking about what was pushed plastered on the wall, all the data of what this guy's going to throw, and all of this stuff was on the wall. And so Ricky got tired of it because they weren't listening. They weren't even playing the game. They were like robots. He ripped that stuff off the wall. He ripped it off the wall. And that was in the duck. He ripped it off the wall. And he got a call. Ricky, you can't do that. You can't rip down the data and the analytics. This is how we play the game now. He was dumbfounded. You're talking about one of the greatest ever when it comes to talent, instincts, and understanding the game. But he couldn't use his expertise to influence what the kids were doing. So that's why a lot of guys from my era, they have a hard time with it. They may go along with it because that's how they can get a job. Some guys are still, some guys have a job in the game, but there are others who say, man, this just don't make any sense. If you can read the swing pattern of a hitter, why do I need the coach to tell me where to play? I can see he stays inside the ball trying to hit it the other way. So I'm going to move over towards the first base hole a little bit. And that's probably where he's going to hit the ball. Swing pattern. You can see swing pattern when a guy is in the on deck circle and he's taking his practice swings. There's certain guys that just have a straight swing pattern. When you look at Mike Trout, he's got a swing pattern. His swing pattern is down. He's looking for a fastball down. They strike him out up in the zone. It's old school baseball, right? Okay, so that's how I see it. Use your instincts. Your instincts start with your eyes. Now, where were we? We were talking about the guys, and Mark, it was your turn here. Or was it Adam's turn? I think it was. Yeah, it's Mark's turn. Mark, come on now, talk to me. What's up, buddy?
In your baseball career, what were some common traits in players you played with that moved on to the next level? What separated them from the others?
Wow, the ability to hit, the ability to run, the ability to throw. We start talking about guys I play with coming through the Bay Area here. Um, they could hit, they could run, they could throw. They had instincts. They loved the game of baseball. Even though they played other sports, they always came back to the game of baseball and they excelled at it. So I would just say the ability to hit stands out above all when I think about most of the guys that I grew up with that end up going into pro ball. Not all of them made it to the big leagues, but they made it to pro ball. Um, some were pitchers, but the majority of us were position players. And these guys could flat out play from catcher to first, second, short, third, outfield. They all had a special talent, something that was above board that could play in the big leagues or play in pro ball. And so there comes a time when you get to a level and everybody's almost the same when it comes to talent wise. And then what separates the best from the rest is technique. And sometimes it's a little bit of the blessing from above. That's what I think. That's what separates. Like right now, we got a kid in the big leagues, Nico Horner, plays second base for the Chicago Cubs. He's a baller, man. He came to Oakland. I got a chance to talk to him. And then I got a chance to really watch him. And he plays with that same Oakland mentality. He's aggressive at the plate. He's got good wheels. He can field. He works hard. He loves the game. And I just think baseball players are born. They're not made. You have to be born to love this game and play this game. It's not an easy game. But those who are born and love this game make it look easy. That's the amazing thing about the blessing that you get. Because you now become, once you get to the big leagues, a 1% of the 1%. And you've gone through 5 different levels and you've had to compete on every level and you've done well. Myself personally, I made the All-Star team on every league I've ever been in. And I was always the littlest guy in the league. That's why I say there's a blessing on the blessing. No one could ever tell me out of all those thousands and sometimes millions, that little guy from Oakland, California made it to the big leagues. But again, I hit from both sides of the plate. I ran a 6'2", 60. I could play shortstop. I could play anywhere. My desire was a little more than most. And so I just took the experiences I had outside the field growing up in Oakland and just took that out to the field and played with that type of mentality. And most of the guys from my area played the same way. So yeah, that's it's kind of, when you think about Dave Stewart, the heart that he has, the deep stare. Ricky Henderson, probably the greatest talent we've ever had in Oakland. You look at Joe Morgan, another one of the greatest talents we ever had. Frank Robinson, Vada Pinson, Kurt Flood, Lloyd Mosby, Al Woods, Gary Pettis. The list goes on. Lee Lacy. A lot of people overlook Lee Lacy. And if you old school, old heads out there, you know who Lee Lacy was because Lee Lacy could swing that bat. Mm-hmm. It's good. We got Brian Johnson and Marcus Jensen. Man, I'm pretty sure I'm going to forget somebody. Um, but there's so many guys that came through here. and they all had the same mentality: no fear, no intimidation, straight talent. So that's what most guys usually have. And then you took get the Willie McGee's and the Shooty Babbitts and all of those guys. So they all had that same talent.
Hi, Bip. You grew up in Berkeley.
No,
During your sporting career in Berkeley,
no.
who were some of the better athletes that you played with? And did any of them go on to greatness like you did? Thanks.
See, I got to clear something up. I got tricked when I was in pro ball. They said, "Where were you born?" I was born in Berkeley at Herrick Hospital because my mother and father, who lived in Oakland, and most mothers and fathers who lived in Oakland, had to have their babies at Herrick Hospital in Berkeley. That's the only reason it says Berkeley, because I'm an Oakland boy. North Oakland, West Oakland, East Oakland, all my life, from K through 12. Oakland. John Marshall, the King of States, to Skyline, to moving on to play pro ball. So I wasn't raised in Berkeley, even though I'm a baseball card that says born in Berkeley. And I just explained why I was born in Berkeley. But I've never lived one day in Berkeley. Now, I wanted to go to Berkeley High, and I almost went to Cal Berkeley, but I never lived in Berkeley. Okay. But I do know some great talent out of Berkeley, and I just mentioned a few. But Rupert Jones was probably the best athlete to come out of Berkeley. Rupert Jones was not only a great baseball player, but he was a heck of a basketball player too. Let's see, Gene Ransom. Gene Ransom was recently his life was recently taken on the freeways here in Oakland. He was a great talent too. I love Gene Ransom. Brian Gwynn, even though he was raised in Richmond, but he went to Berkeley High and Cal Berkeley. Brian Gwynn, the son of Jimmy Gwynn. Jimmy Gwynn was a scout who drafted Ricky Henderson. Brian Gwynn was a great baseball and basketball player. Shooty Babbitt was a great little football player and was a big league baseball player. Uh, but that's kind of the names I heard growing up when it came to Berkeley. And I'm sure there's a lot more. I'm sure. But my guys were here in Oakland. I mean, from Little League, Seafood Grotto here, playing for Frank Love, championships at 10. I'm an Oakland boy. And I love Berkeley, but I don't claim Berkeley like that. So when you look at that baseball card, it says born in Berkeley. It doesn't say raised. If it says where were you raised, where did you live? I lived in Oakland. I'm proud of that. Jim, what's up, buddy?
Hello, Bip. Jim here. Thanks for your update on.
Oh, I think we got to Jim. Sometimes I go through these questions and I just want to keep going through these questions because I love to answer these questions. I think that's one of the best parts of the show is when you get to really interact with the people out there who are wanting to interact with you. I love interacting with people. And having said that, I really would be remiss if I didn't talk about something that really touched my heart about humility. Even when you're great, how you don't come off as arrogant or overconfident. And this past a week and a half ago, so we lost a great man. We lost Vida Blue, somebody that I loved dearly, cherished as a human being, more so than a baseball player. Because the funny thing about it, we never talked baseball. Always talked about life and encouraging others. Vida Blue helped myself and Mr. Community, Terry Butler, start Youth Sports Nation, where we would go into schools K through 12 and talk to kids wherever they were. Didn't matter what school, good school, bad school, happy school, sad school. We went and we talked to the kids. And Vida always had a message for the kids. And he never said how good he was. He always talked about love your parents, respect your elders, get your education. And he spoke on those three things. And when he was going through his transition, we saw it from day one. And we just kept it quiet because that's what he wanted. He kept his pride. And the thing about it was, even when he was going through it, he was still giving praise to our Savior. And I know some of you out there saying, B, I don't want to hear about all of that. Well, that's who I am. And I'm not afraid of that. So you're going to hear that from time to time. Sorry. See, one thing you got to understand is where I used to be and where I am now is like day and night. So I think you might want to appreciate that, because if I was still in the night part of it, some of the words coming out of my mouth wouldn't be allowed on the mic'd up app, or some of the things that I've seen that I would talk about wouldn't be on the mic'd up app. But because now everything is in the light, there are things that I can discuss. And the thing I always want to always do is put people in the light and let it shine on them for who they are and what they were, not for who people might think they were. Yeah, Vida was a great baseball player. He won Rookie of the Year, Cy Young, MVP. He was just outstanding. But he was an even greater man. And you would find it very difficult to find someone who disagrees with me when I speak those words. It'd be very hard to find somebody say, man, I don't like Vida Blue, man. He was arrogant, man. He was so cocky, man. He didn't even sign my autograph. And Vida signed autographs with everybody. From the time that when I was a kid, I would hear stories about Vida in the neighborhood, going to somebody's house to eat gumbo. Man, we invited Vida over to eat gumbo, and he came over and ate gumbo. If you don't know what gumbo is, that's a Louisiana style seafood dish that most of us love. I love gumbo because it got crab and shrimp and chicken and sausage. And man, it's a good dish. Yeah. If you don't know what gumbo is, look it up. Maybe one day we'll get together and have a cup of gumbo. But Vida was gumbo. Vida was gumbo. And Vida loved his community, and he loved people, and people loved Vida. So I just want to give him my little tribute. We talked about it on a lot of news stations. They called me and asked about him. And it was just, I don't think it hit me until I really I went to class on that Tuesday. And my Tuesday class is Rock School of Ministry. And I think while we were praying is when it really hit me. I don't think anybody saw me over there shedding tears, but things hit you differently. Hits everybody differently. And I think I'm just saying this because I know it's been 2 weeks, but I'm saying this for you to hear me say you appreciate those who are here now in your life, because they won't be here forever. So whatever little disagreements, whatever little situation that have occurred to keep you from that person, and you really want to be around that person, hey, take it upon yourself to forgive, and then take that next step to reconnect. How about that? All right, we're going to take one more break. You're here on Blips on the Mic'd Up app, the only platform where you can interact with your favorite athletes. Download it right now. Go to your Play Store, download it, and then tell a friend. We'll be right back. All right. Welcome back to Blips. This will be our last segment of the day on this Monday. Beautiful, 78 degrees, mostly sunny, 5/15/2023. Man, I can remember in 1981, I was drafted out of high school. And now we're talking about 2023. We made it. At least we made it this far. Now, when you start watching this game, there's a couple players out here I want you to start watching. Luis Reyes of Miami hitting 382. They're talking about there's not many 300 hitters. Ronald Acuna hitting 346. Elias Diaz hitting 328. Andy Diaz is hitting 321. Randy Rosarina hitting 320. There's some guys out here swinging the bats. So when I look at it, there's at least 25 guys hitting 300. We didn't have this last year with that shift and all that extra. 25 guys are hitting 300. 26 guys. Joey Meneses with Washington has gotten up to 300. And there are a lot of guys in the 290s, 280s, 270s, where last year we saw a lot of guys hitting 255, 240, 230. They were just not swinging the bats last year. But now I think without that shift, balls are getting through the infield. And we talked about it. If you don't have athletic ability in the middle infield, balls get through now. You don't understand the little situations that happen between pitcher and hitter. Looking at swing path again, now you're out of position. What about the data for that? I guess around All-Star break, we'll have data for that. Pete Alonso got 13 jacks. Wisdom's got 12. Muncie's got 12. Olson's got 11. Devers got that money in Boston, and he has not missed a beat. I don't think he really care about money. This boy just love to play baseball, right? Runs batted in. I saw Dallas Garcia just kill the A's last week. I mean, when he was in Texas against the A's, he had a home run game where he had 3. And then the other day he had 2 with a grand slam. He just balling, man. He's got 42 ribbies already, leading the league. Cunha's got 54 hits. Bo Bichette can play now. Bo Bichette has got 54. Araya has got 52, leading the league with a 384 average. Unbelievable. Stolen bases. Now you got Estuary Ruiz of the Oakland A's. All right. We got somebody up there. You got 18 bags leading the league. Acuna's got 17. Nice. That's just beautiful. And then over here, when it comes to pitchers, pitchers to me, I really don't talk about pitching stats because I wasn't a pitcher. They were always taking food out of my mouth, and I really don't like to get them no pub, but I'll do it for you guys. All right. Shane McClanahan, 7 wins. Zach Galen, 6. Joe Ryan, Kershaw, Justice Steele, they got 6. Sonny Gray got an ERA of 1.3. Eduardo Rodriguez, Detroit got a 1.5. And so on and so on. See, that's how much I love pitchers. So on and so on. Emmanuel Calais, Cleveland got 14 saves. The lead of the strikeouts leaders, Spencer Strider with Atlanta. He's got some good stuff. He's got 79, leading all of baseball. Quality starts, Marcus Stroman got 7, Keller 7, Valdez 7, Bieber 7, Steele 7. So the guys are throwing the ball, guys are swinging the bats, guys are stealing bases, guys are scoring runs, guys are hitting home runs, guys are driving in runs. Baseball right now is flourishing, and it's all because of the new rules that they have in place. Games are moving faster. People are loving the game. The thing we're not going to do is cheat the fan based on trying to get a game in under 2 hours and 35 minutes. The game will take care of itself. Most of the games that have run long is because there's a lot of runs scored. You can't stop that. But when it's a good, clean ball game, it's 220, 230. It's been real nice and crisp. And when you're on my side right now, calling games, that's nice. Because I don't think I get many yawns out anymore like I used to. There were times back in the day I literally fall asleep for 1 or 2 innings, wake up, and nothing really happened. Now things are moving and happening. You got to always keep it looking left, looking. You got to stay on your toes now. All right. So I'm loving how things are going right now, and I hope you are too. I think that it's going to be a very exciting season. We haven't even gotten to the good part yet. We're in May. We haven't got to the summer. Wait until we get to the summer when these guys really start to just lock into what they're doing. Hitters are locked in, pitchers are locked in, teams are now starting to play well, and you're going to start seeing a separation. There's a team out there right now that's doing pretty well. I hope you know something about the Texas Rangers. What's their manager's name? Bruce Bochy. He's a winner. He knows how to put a winning team on the field. I think you got to watch these guys. When we look at it in the end, they're going to be somewhere in those playoffs. Tampa Bay Rays always overlooked, but it's always solid, always plays well. I wish they had more fans. It's kind of, well, they get more than we get in Oakland. I think in Oakland sometimes I can count them just by, oh yeah, we got about 75 tonight. Minnesota Twins, Texas Rangers, Houston Astros, Braves. We got the Milwaukee Brewers and Pirates, the Dodgers. What can you say about the Dodgers? They're just very talented, very classy organization. I like that organization. I like to watch games down there because the weather reminds me of Disneyland. Sometimes the field does too. But baseball is in a good position right now.